Good morning, friends of the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. That is much better, much better. I'm Roger Falabot of the Community Relations Department, just down the road, as a matter of fact, at Peninsula Regional Medical Center, and it is a great honor to be asked by Kathleen and her team to be your Master of Ceremonies for this 13th annual CEO and Coordinator Breakfast to kick off what we know will be another outstanding United Way campaign. All right, so I'm a guy who's all about full disclosure, so let me get this out of the way early. Timing is everything, and I am about 4 days into the worst cold that any human has ever had. Coughing spells, sneezing sessions, and I spent yesterday in the dunk tank at our company's backyard barbecue, probably not the smartest thing in the world to do. And at times, my voice cracks like a 14-year-old boy going through puberty. So I'm just warning you in advance, we're going to soldier through this, but you may get a brand new me as your Master of Ceremonies at some point today. It's wonderful, just wonderful to see a full house packed with leaders of our community. There's about 250 of you in the room today, which is absolutely outstanding. Love the fact that you've all come together to help us make a big difference in our community through the United Way. And a very, very special thanks to Jim Perdue, our honorary host, for continuing this great tradition to officially kick off our United Way campaign. Jim, thank you very much. Thank you, too, to Salisbury University and President Dr. Janet Dudley Eschbach for so generously sponsoring this event again and for all the time and effort that SU and the team puts into making this organization great and helping out our United Way on the Lower Eastern Shore. Janet and team, thank you. All right, so before we get into the meat of the morning, what we want to do is have you participate in a little interactive opportunity with us, if you've not already done so. And I hope that you have already, to save us a little bit of time. Get your cell phones out. We're going to do this. You are looking for the Wi-Fi network here at Salisbury University. What you want is the network called United Way, and your password is welcome to SUUW. All right? Welcome, the number 2, SUUW. All right, once you've got that hooked up, what I want you to find is slido.com, SLIDO.com, and the code there is Live United, LIVEUNITED, all one word. Okay? These instructions are also on your table, so you don't have to commit these to memory. We did this a couple of months ago at an opioid symposium we held here at Salisbury University. It was extremely well received, and we got some terrific answers. So we want to do the same with this group and to see how you react to our Slido tool. So here are the first of 2 questions. We're going to do a bunch of them this morning. We want to find out who's new. Who is new with us in the organization? Is this your first CEO and Coordinator Breakfast? You got 2 options. Yes, I'm excited to be here. Or nope, I'm glad to be back. Again, it's slido.com, SLIDO. You can see the results on your phone. You will see the results up here on the screen as well. Excuse me. All right, let me slide around here so I can see these too. Nope. Glad to be back at about 70%. That is terrific. Now, let's find out who we have in the room. What community segment or segments do you represent? Professional, accounting and legal services, manufacturing, the food industry, education, government, healthcare, nonprofit, or others? And as we expected, we have a pretty good cross-section of people in the room. All right, thank you for these responses. We'll do this a bit later again in the program. This is a pretty cool tool, right? So we have a bunch of these, and we'll do them throughout the morning. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the truly community-focused president of this phenomenal university, Dr. Janet Dudley Eschbach, and the vice president of Salisbury University Student United Way, Drew LeCouture, to bring us the official university welcome, and then our program's opening prayer. Good morning, Janet and Drew, and thanks again for hosting things today.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You know, we're so glad to, again at Salisbury University for the fourth consecutive year, host this very special community-focused kickoff event. And I do have to give some kudos to our backup vocalist this morning. Bill Folger does a great job here, but I will tell you, at the table with me was the faculty advisor to our Student United Way group, faculty member Annie Matthews. And Annie, you're way over here, but stand up anyway. She should have been up here joining Bill Folger because I didn't realize she's got a stellar voice. So, Dr. Mathers, you're a person of many talents, but we did miss the treat of hearing Jeffrey Todd, who's ill, because he placed second in the category from among competitors across the entire nation at the National Association of Teachers. His voice is amazing. Bill, yours is amazing as well. But anyway, moving on, I want to thank our music department and dining services, everybody in dining services today. Everybody's in United Way t-shirts. So let's give everybody a wave. All of my dining services people, they're kind of all around. And everyone who helped with this breakfast. I need to take just a few minutes to boast about our Student United Way. Can the members of Salisbury University Student United Way please stand? Please stand. They're kind of spread out here. Last year, the Student United Way, the very first of any campus in the state of Maryland, accomplished quite a lot. They had 70 club members. This is a big club at Salisbury University. Completed 80 volunteer projects impacting the lives, we estimate, of 3,500 individuals and families. And they recorded 4,000 volunteer hours and raised over $6,000 for the United Way. And indeed, one of the things we try to impart to our students at the university when they graduate with a degree, we hope that they're also leaving with a sense of the importance of how fortunate they've been and the importance of giving back and lending a helping hand. The Student United Way was recognized with several Salisbury University Center for Student Involvement and Leadership Awards, the Most Outstanding Club, the Event of the Year, which was a Halloween 5K race, walk, run, the Most Outstanding Community Service Program, the Emerging Leader to Current Student United Way Award. We have an Emerging Leader Award, and that went to Eleanor Brown. Eleanor, please stand. You're over here. Thank you. And again, that incredible soprano, but also the faculty advisor to the Student United Way here at the university, Annie Matthews. Thanks again, Annie. So to all the student members of the United Way, thank you for making your university proud, and thank you for all you do for our local community. And so, without further delay, I'm going to ask that Drew, who's standing patiently next to me here, who will be the president of our Student United Way, is going to come forward to offer the opening prayer. Drew?
Good morning. Good morning. As our club's vice president, it is an honor for me to join our incredible university president, Dr. Dudley Eschbach, and begin this morning's inspiring United Way campaign kickoff with a prayer. Lord, Thank you for the wonderful food we are about to receive and for bringing us together this morning in a united way to make a real and lasting difference. Please bless and guide this fellowship. Guide our hearts and minds and make us your instruments and leaders in service, working together to enhance and empower the lives of those in need and of our entire community. May we encourage, challenge, and inspire one another to be the best we can be, give our time, resources, and energy, and help others through thick and thin, for together, united, we all win. Amen.
Janet and Drew, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, as they say, folks, if you need us, you'll feed us, right? And breakfast is coming out shortly. But before we do that, a couple of Slido questions, okay? Let's do this again. Again, remind you, your wireless network is United Way. The password, welcome to SUUW, Slido.com, live united, okay? So here we go. Here's our next ones. This is to test your knowledge. Our United Way has been making a local impact in this community for how long? For 73 years, for 52 years, for 128 years? What do you think? A lot of smart people in this room. 73 years is the correct answer for our United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. All right, here's one to find out about you in the room. I have been a United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore supporter for how long? Less than a year, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, or like myself, more than 20 years. Pretty close, right? Pretty good split. We're going to convert all you 1 to 5s into this category down here before we're all done, more than 20 years. All right, one other thing we want to find out from you too. The biggest issue or issues that you see facing the Lower Shore community are, and you can choose more than one here too, literacy rates, jobs, health care or the access to health care, transportation, addiction, or something else. Addiction, pretty much on everybody's minds right now, right? 84% commands the room. And one last question, and this is one that you can add your personal touch to as well. What other significant issue or issues do you feel we're facing? This is an open question, so you can type in your comments, and we'll share them with our United Way team here, and we'll keep track of them and use them in upcoming things that we do around the community. Okay, so thanks again for participating in Slido. We're not done with that. We have a couple more to do before the morning is done. But breakfast will be coming out shortly, and we will be back in just a few moments with the second half of our program. So again, thanks for being here, and please enjoy breakfast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, to be sensitive to your time, because we know that we all have places to be again later today, please continue enjoying your breakfast, and we are going to now begin the second half of our program. Before we do, how about a round of applause for Salisbury University and this amazing catering team? Outstanding service, a delicious breakfast, and some sporty t-shirts on top of it. Looking real good. Great job, great job. It is my pleasure now to welcome up to this podium Jim Hartstein of the Insurance Market, who also happens to be your United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore Board President. Jim, good morning. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, sir.
Get my stuff out of your way.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good. Guys, this is a pep rally. You understand that? So we can get a little excited, all right? I'm not going to do any cheers, I'll promise you. But this is a very high-energy event. We appreciate having you all here today. Well, again, good morning and welcome. It is truly an honor to be this year's board president and a tremendous honor to be here with all of you today. This is the 13th annual CEO and Coordinator Kickoff, and we are very excited to be launching our 73rd year as your local United Way. So thank you very, very much. You know, in this room today, we have a tremendous amount of strong leaders, community advocates, and there's a couple of folks that we'd like to recognize individually. First and foremost, for the gentleman who I think this was his brainchild 13 years ago. It's certainly grown in scope, right, Kathleen? We've got a few more people now than we did then. But Mr. Jim Perdue with Perdue Farms, thank you very, very much. I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge our incredible partnership with our host here today, Salisbury University. The food's fantastic, the venue's beautiful. Please, a round of applause for Salisbury. Thank you very much. As I said, it is truly my honor to address this, which is a record-breaking crowd. In this group, we have a tremendous amount of dignitaries, donors, volunteers, all who come together really to unite and lead and create a difference here in our community. Thank you for being here. I want to send a special thank you to the folks who are joining us for their first time. I think we had about 30% or so of today's crowd. Thank you for being here. Thank you for learning more about our agency. And thank you for learning about the ways that you can engage with the other 260 local businesses who very proudly support our organization. As many of you know, and you've probably heard us say, outside of government, our United Way is the largest annual funder of local not-for-profit programs. As your board president, I am incredibly proud to let you know that this year we will be funding 80 programs across 4 counties and helping more than 84,000 of our friends, neighbors, and family members. We're able to do all this at another statistic that I'm incredibly proud of. We are able to make this impact and help our friends and neighbors with an incredibly low 17% administrative cost. Compared to the national average of 35% for not-for-profits and the National Charities Bureau standard of 25%, I think that's an incredible accomplishment. So thank you very, very much. As many of you know, and again, you've heard us discuss in our campaigns, is that we are focused on truly measurable results in the areas of health, education, and financial stability. It's our belief that these 3 impact areas are truly the building block for a successful life. In today's event, I'd like to recognize some of our local dignitaries who are able to join us. We are very blessed to have a lot of support of local government officials, so if we could, if they could please remain standing, and you could hold your applause until everyone's been announced. Delegate Chris Adams, Judge Kathleen Beckstead, President of the Wicomico County, John Cannon, County Council, apologies. We're a little tight in here, so. Delegate Mary Beth Carroza. Uh-oh, hold on, technical difficulties. Wicomico County Executive Bob Culver. Mayor Jake Day. Acting State's Attorney for Wicomico County, Ella Dishran. Senator Addie Eckert. President of the Town of Princess Anne Commissioners, Mr. Garland Hayward. I know that Senator Jim Mathias is here because I saw him taking a selfie earlier. Jake, he may be challenging you for more social media activity. We'll see how. Delegate Charles Otto. Bill Reddish, representing Congressman Aaron Harris. And Delegate Johnny Motz. Please, a round of applause for these fantastic leaders. As we come off of what was absolutely a record-breaking and incredible year thanks to all of your support. I'm proud to announce that we were able to meet and surpass a $2 million worth of pledges last year. Thank you very, very much for that. As we continue to have success, as any good organization does, we push ourselves. We've got another lofty goal again this year. And we have a lofty goal because, as many of you know, the community needs us now more than it ever has. I'm excited to announce at today's event that our goal for this year is $2.2 million, and I guarantee we will get it with all of your help. Aside from our traditional employee campaign and our fundraisers that we have coming up, we have a couple of new ways to engage with our agency. One that I am incredibly proud of both of them, but is the Women United. Women United is a group of women who either already contribute at the Anchor Society or would like to, and this takes our organization from strictly giving financial support to more hands-on engagement for women in our community. The first program that this group is going to be engaging in is for struggling second and third graders struggling with reading. There's going to be one-on-one mentorship opportunities inside the Wacomico County Schools, and we're incredibly excited about this initiative. We think it's going to have a lot of great engagement. In addition to that, we're going to be launching a United Way rewards card this year. Now, this is not a rewards card in the traditional sense. I know when we were rolling this idea out, Kathleen was saying, I love every rewards card and I want to buy every single one of them. The challenge is reading all the print, right? Because you only have so much real estate. This is an app-based program. So there will not be a physical card, but rather a shortcut inside of your smartphone, which will take you to more than 70 local businesses who are offering discounts specifically through this app, where you can engage, support those businesses, and also support your United Way at the same time. We're excited to announce we've already had 10 new businesses sign up to offer discounts through this particular rewards program this month alone. This is getting incredible traction. We would not be able to have such an incredible program as the Live Rewards Card if it was not for our current Executive Vice President, Campaign Chair, Dana Seiler. Dana was able to execute this fantastic program with the help of his very, very talented team at Vantage Point Solutions Group. So please, a round of applause for Women United and the Rewards Card. Again, we mentioned that this year we do have a large goal, and we do need your help, and we need your help again now more than ever. You saw here on the Slido that addiction is absolutely crippling our community, and we believe that with your help, we can continue to fight for the education, health, and financial stability, because we know through our campaign slogan this year, United, we all win. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the campaign video for this year. This video was put together by the very talented artist Jesse Campbell with Vision Creative TV. For those of you who are able to check it out, he also did a beautiful video on the county's 150th anniversary. Please look for Jesse, connect with him, Facebook, webpage. Incredible, incredible artist, and one we're very excited to support. So, I saw it this morning, it's pretty good. It was at 5:30 on my couch when I was watching it. So without further ado, if someone could please roll the video.
First of all, I think as a family, when you have a special needs child, you feel like you've been set out on a boat alone.
You never know who's going to be on the other side. When that phone rings, they have no idea what kind of question you're going to ask them.
They change colors.
How come?
Because the sunlight.
Sunlight?
What they're doing here with the children is really awesome, because not only is it bringing them together, but some of the kids that have no social skills, they're now becoming sociable, not just with, the ones, their peers that they know, but with some of the girls that they don't know.
It's not always the easiest thing to match the reimbursement rate with what it takes to get those children seen.
Therapy has helped us now where she's actually eating meals with us. She's eating exactly what we eat. And the first time she did that, I actually cried because that was just an amazing milestone for her.
What United Way does, they help to make it feel like you're not ostracized, like we do want your family to be a part, and we do want to support what we need to do to help your children live the life to the most potential that they can live.
He's playing peekaboo.
You know, when I hang up a call, that's, been somebody that's having an emotional crisis, and, knowing, that they say thank you, I'm feeling much better, knowing that, somebody's out there that's feeling a little better because I could help them.
I don't think I could have done it without him, honestly. Many days of, I don't know what I'm doing, why am I doing this, why am I even trying?
Maryland 211 is an amazing resource for our local area, and United Way funding makes it possible.
And so having the support of United Way has been, a godsend for us. Without it, we wouldn't be able to continue to stay on the cutting edge of what's going on in therapy.
And all of the things that the United Way does, it's just amazing because it's a lot of people in need.
Beautiful video. So again, a round of applause, please. Those are just a few of the faces of the 84,000 people that we have the opportunity to serve through our program. Not only are we able to serve those folks through the programs that we fund, but also be good stewards for each and every one of you in your donations of treasure and time. So thank you very much for that opportunity, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be your board president. God bless.
Thank you, Jim. If you have ever wondered why our United Way has been doing what it does for the last 73 years, that video tells it all. Jim, thanks again. Thank you very much. At this time, it is my great pleasure, and I absolutely mean it's my great pleasure, to introduce the honorary host of this event, a true leader who has helped to make such a difference in our community in so many ways and with his family for so many years, right here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. He is the #1 raising campaign for our United Way each and every year. He also is the team that beats out my team at Peninsula Regional Medical Center each and every year. But ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that there is no shame in finishing second to this gentleman in anything that you do in life. Please join me in welcoming from Purdue Farms, Mr. Jim Purdue.
So Roger, I've gotten as far as Slido. What do you do after that? Well, good morning. Uh-oh. There we go. It's great to see everybody this morning, and Jim, I've got to tell you though that you said the brainstorm. There's only one brainstorm in here when it comes to United Way, and that's Kathleen. And she called me up 13 years ago and said, can we have an event with businesses in town? And so we had about 40 leaders over at the fountains in a corner of the restaurant, and that was the beginning. And now there's over 200 businesses involved in the United Way, and it's great to see. And I appreciate everybody coming here from far away. I mean, many different counties getting up this morning early at 5:30 to get here, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. How many of you are new businesses here this year? Okay, good. We've got about, I think about 30 new businesses coming in at this time, and really appreciate, your commitment and effort to do it. You know, the theme, United We Win, Steve Evans over here from our company, has got a big thing going on in our company called Game On. And so it's a similar kind of message, and it's kind of like sports, and we want to win this each and every year. And I think we probably were less than maybe $500,000 or $600,000 back when we first started this. So to be $2 million is unbelievable, and hats off to everybody in here. Everybody wins, in this effort. Your business will win because, one thing I know for sure is that there are people, if you did a survey in your company and asked people if they wanted to get involved in a lot of these agencies or in a United Way campaign, I guarantee you they would want to. You just have to let them do it. And you can actually develop great people. Brian Hurst is on our board, or on the United Way board, and then Jennifer and Amy are sitting together over here at this table, are coordinators, and so I think and they know that they've got the support of the whole company in this effort, and so I think it helps to develop people who want to participate. You win because I think you should feel good about what you're doing to help a community out, and most importantly, the agencies win, and they're the ones that really are the feet on the ground that get the money working where it needs to be working, and so everybody wins here. My most important job is to introduce the next speaker, and it's a pleasure to do that. Randy Day is now the CEO of our company. He's only the second non-family CEO, and he's well earned that role. 37 years in the business, and most importantly, his values mirror those of the company. And that mainly being trust, integrity, and teamwork, which are really important to help lead our company. The other thing about Randy you probably don't know is, his dad was a minister, and in at least a couple of churches here on the shore. And the last couple of years, everywhere I go with Randy and introduce somebody, he'll say, well, he went to my dad's church. And I said, really? I just figured this must be about a 2,000 person church, because everybody I meet went to his dad's church at one time or another. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but let me introduce Randy and have him come up. And notice that he tucked in his shirt, which is what the baby boomers do, as opposed to us millennials. I'll let you know. So come on up, Randy.
Good morning. There are variations of millennials. Jim is what we would call a delusional millennial. And it's interesting to be introduced as Randy Day, because usually I'm introduced as Jake's dad. So, Purdue Farms, which will turn 100 years old in 2020, has a long history of being deeply embedded and active in this community. Over that nearly 100 years, we have forged a culture and a set of values that are the very essence of what we are and how we conduct ourselves. One element of that culture is giving back to the community. And clearly the United Way is an important manifestation of that culture of giving back to the community. At Purdue, one of the reasons we're so supportive of the United Way is because there's this wonderful alignment between our values and the values of the United Way. Purdue has 4 values: quality, integrity, teamwork, and stewardship. I speak of quality. At Purdue, the brand stands for quality. At the United Way, it stands for operating with the lowest administrative overhead budget, which I'm very fond of personally. And as their mission statement says, mobilizing the caring power of communities around the world to advance the common good. At Purdue, when we speak of integrity, it means doing what we say we're going to do. At the United Way, it means making sure they're transparent and your hard-earned dollars go to the right place and the right people in need. When we speak of teamwork at Purdue, it means we win or lose as a team. If Steve doesn't win, I can't win. If I don't win, Jim can't win. We win or lose as a team. As for the United Way, does any organization in this community bring us together more effectively than this wonderful United Way team? They're the best. And finally, stewardship. There are 5 elements to our value of stewardship. Protect the environment. Provide for our associates. Provide for the well-being of the animals in our care. Promote civic responsibility and be good stewards of our business. The relationship between Purdue and the United Way is aligned clearly with our value of civic responsibility, being good stewards of the communities in which we live and work. You know, each year I'm moved by the generosity of the Purdue associates, as I'm sure you see in your own companies. As leaders in companies, we know that success is not spontaneous. Leaders have to step up and lead. We have to allow, importantly, our associates to step up and participate. We can't watch their time. We can't worry about where they are. We've got to allow them to get out there and do their United Way thing. Our role is to lead by example, not only to contribute money, but our time and our expertise. Let's make this campaign the most successful ever and blow away that $2.2 million goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Randy. Thank you, Purdue Farms, for all you do, have done, and will continue to do for our United Way. Absolutely. It is my great pleasure now to introduce our keynote speaker for this morning's event. He's a local guy whose dad once served on our United Way Board of Directors. Did you know that? Here's another did you know. His sister once worked for our United Way years ago. He's a national and international speaker, a recognized rock star, well known as the cultural and experience leader at Zappos for 9 years, and an expert on culture in the workplace. Please join me in welcoming home to the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Mr. John Wolski.
Thank you so much. All right. So I want to start off by making something really clear, and I'm not trying to mansplain here. But ladies, do you know what Roger meant when he said he had like the world's worst cold ever? We call them the sniffles, right? No, just kidding. Thank you guys so much for having me. As mentioned, I did grow up here in Salisbury, and I worked in Ocean City. I worked at Fisher's Popcorn, the best caramel popcorn in the world. I've tried all the rest, and it's still the best. I worked for 5 years at Maytech and learned a ton in that environment. That was on the urging of a wise man who's right at that table there. So, who said, you know what, a trade, a skill is a great way to go if you're not going to go to school. So, I'm so glad to be back here in Salisbury. I'll tell you, this is actually my first speech, not ever. Right? I've done it actually for 6 years. I've done it for 6 years on behalf of Zappos. This is my first solo speech. Now I'm going to write a book and create my own brand, sharing what I know and what I think we can do for a better future. So thank you guys so much for giving me the chance. So when people come to speak, they give you this bullet list of things that are interesting about them. I like cherry pie, right? Actually, I like chocolate, but that's all right. But I'm not going to do bullets because bullets kill. We all know that. So I am happily married. I am a father. And by the way, you guys almost ruined me because that video was awesome. And I can't wait until my daughter shares her first meal with us because she's right now in a lot of therapy. So it's like, darn it. These good videos. Also, I'm a father in that way. And I am a rock star because I get to put the bio together. And you might say, I think I've seen that guy playing around town. I saw him at Layton's Chance. You didn't see me playing at Layton's Chance. I have a twin brother who does also play in town. So if you're going, wow, that guy gained 20 pounds really fast, that's why. When I moved to Las Vegas, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Obviously, I wanted to play music. But I ended up working a lot of odd jobs here and there, and then I found Zappos.com. And I took the job because I needed a job that offered health insurance. That was my motivation. Let's get real. I was turning 30 years old. And I took a job in a call center. I didn't want to do call center work or sales work or customer service work. I didn't care about shoes. Still kind of don't. I've got a bunch of them now, right? But I joined this company that was so much more than a shoe company, and this job was so much more than a customer service job, and I absolutely fell in love with the way that we used the word culture and with the way that we used the words of our culture in everything that we did. And so after a year on the call center floor, I found this department called Zappos Insights. That was sharing what we do and why, the approach to culture with other companies. And so then for 7 years, I got to share with other companies. I got to travel around the world on behalf of the brand to say, here's what we do and here's why. The most important part is here's why we do it. And in 2013, I got to do a TED Talk, a TEDx talk in Los Angeles. And when you're a speaker and somebody says, do you want to come to our TEDx event? You're like, wow. And I haven't been nervous at a speech in a very long time. I was nervous before the TED Talk. And I'll tell you, I'm nervous this morning because this matters so much. And I don't know if you understand how much the future of this area matters to you guys. It matters to me, and I don't even live here anymore. I've been in Las Vegas for 14 years, and when the United Way said, we're having a meeting, can we have you come and do the keynote? I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Why wouldn't I? So this is what I get to do. Now, have you guys ever been to a conference and seen a futurist? I've been to a bunch of conferences in the last 6 years, and you see these guys who are futurists. I'm not one of those guys. But I have seen the future. So how have I seen the future? I've looked for it. Does that make sense? In going to conferences, I've seen so many different organizations that are doing things differently, that are thinking about their brand, their culture, and their people, and the impact that that has overall. And that's the future, right? The future also includes all the millennials, no matter what you think of them. Right, Jim? Right? They are the future, whether you like it or not. Whether you read all the articles that I think are sometimes misleading or not, and you form that opinion based on that information or not, they're going to be the ones that take over. Are we equipping them to do that in the right way? Are we equipping them to make our brands, our companies, and our communities a better place? I've seen that future, and I'm really excited to see it in 10 years, 20 years. So we can't talk about culture without talking about this word. So coming from Zappos, we get a lot of jokes. I'm going to use the we language, by the way. I just left Zappos in August. We get a lot of people saying, oh, you had to drink the Kool-Aid, right? When you think about those brands like Google that are known for their culture, we go, oh, it's wacky, it's kind of like a cult, right? So let's just get that out of the way right now. Absolutely, it's a bit like a cult. And that's not a bad thing. I'm a big fan of etymology. Do you guys know what etymology is? It's not the study of insects. It's the study of words and their history. I'm not good at it. I just Google stuff, right? Where did this word come from? But if you look at the word cult, so out of the word culture, the word cult starts it off, and it actually means to tend to and care for. That thing that you tend to and care for. The connotation that we have for cult came about much more recently, as far as cult being kind of a pagan, strange thing. So what are you tending to and caring for? That's the culture of your brand. You need to be intentional about it. You need to put resources and energy behind it. Those resources may start off as just simply time to consider what we're doing and how do we move forward. But you should be thinking, what is my brand all about? Right? When you think about a cult, any of those cults that we've heard about, because there are probably plenty more, you know what they stood for. Isn't that amazing? As odd as it might be, as wrong as it might be, you know what they stood for. So we'll take a look at some brands here. Obviously, some brands you've probably heard about. And these are all brands that when I think of companies that are known, that just are going to pop into my mind, they come into mind. I did pick 3, interestingly enough, that are based here in Maryland. Wegmans, which is a deli and grocery store, is number 2 on the Fortune Best Companies to Work For list. Number 2 out of all of them, based here in Maryland. Marriott, and then Tech Systems is IT. And then you hopefully recognize this one down here too, right? But when you think about these brands, what comes to mind when you think about Disney? Right, you're all singing, aren't you? Somewhere in your head, somebody stuck on an Aladdin song, somebody went to let it go, But these brands aren't just, okay, it's a Disney movie, or we're going to Disney, or I need to shop on Amazon. You get a sense of what they're about. Amazon is the everything store, right? Zappos, hopefully you think about service. So you need to have that feeling, but that's also business. We're here to drive business. So what is culture really? And I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time close to the West Coast. Okay, culture is not kumbaya. It's not hugging it out. It's not pool tables, and foosball, and free lunch. What is it? 'Cause that's all the stuff that people say is culture, that makes culture, right? But what is it? And you guys can feel free to talk up. I'll repeat back what you say for the camera. All 250 at once. Let's go. What is culture? I'll put it to you another way. You're in Las Vegas for a conference, and you get into the elevator, and oh my God, there's Richard Branson. You guys know Sir Richard Branson, right? He's a sir. And he says, I've been thinking a lot about culture. What do you think it is? You've got to give him an answer. So what's your elevator pitch? What is culture to Richard Branson? Values? Reputation? Inspiration? How you live? Would you agree that there's a lot that goes into this? Right? It's not a one-word answer. Right? There's so much that goes into culture. And when I ask this question, there might be 1,000 people in the room, nobody gets it wrong. Right? Because there's so much that goes into culture. What is it really? Now, this is my deck, so I get to put my definition up. It's not a perfect definition, because there's so much that goes into culture. This is what I think culture is. Culture is the attitudes, the feelings, the values and behaviors that characterize and inform a group and its members. Does that make sense? Let's make it easy for you. Culture is who you are as a brand, who you are as a company, who you are as the people that make it successful, who you are as the community that you're a part of. Culture is so much more than what's the widget that we make, how is our sales team doing, right? How are our margins? That's business. And I trust that you guys are good with your business. You're all in this room today. Are you good with your culture? Do you really put time and energy into your culture? Do you think about it weekly? Do you think about it monthly? Do you think about it daily? Culture is that important because it's absolutely at the heart of your brand. So when you talk about the business we're in, awesome. Product, services. The people that drive this business and who the community thinks we are, so that reputation piece, who are we? It's all culture. And the alignment between culture and what people experience needs to be the same thing. What you're telling the world that you're doing needs to be what they experience. So one of our quotes from Tony Hsieh at Zappos is kind of a yin and yang sort of idea. It's that culture and brand are two sides of the same coin. You shouldn't ever talk about culture without addressing that this is your brand. You should never talk about brand without saying, here's how it's aligned with and is showing our culture. So there's not two different things you need to learn about. Isn't that awesome? Get the culture right, and everything else falls into place. The brand and how people do what they're supposed to do falls into place. Sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? That's what my job is, to make it sound pretty easy. So people like easy processes. I'm going to give you a 2-step process for culture. Woohoo! Man, could not be easier than 2 steps. Do you guys agree? Yeah, okay, so let's take a look. There's define the culture. Can you do that? I know you guys had coffee. There was coffee at my table. Can you define the values, the behaviors? Absolutely. The second step, which I think is more important and maybe even more difficult, is to commit to the culture. Right? Now, I said I was going to make it easy, but there's an asterisk up there by the 2 steps. Did you catch that? These are 2 ginormous steps. They are absolutely huge and absolutely incredibly important for your business. Who are we really? Take time. Zappos, when they started, grew organically into having a very good culture, and it took a year to define what that was. When we finally said, hey, we've got to do this, who are we? A year, because we wanted to get it right. And then what does it mean to commit? So you get to the heart of your brand. By the way, who is the best at defining who you are as a brand? Is it the leadership? You absolutely need to be a part of it, right? And you absolutely need to support the brand. But the people in the company know what's going on. And or they know what the truth is, which means that as a leader, you might say, I've come up with some great values for our company. And then people go, well, you see. So why not involve them in the process? Be involved, but let the people that are driving your brand work on the definition for you. And then what does it look like to commit, to really absolutely commit? This is the definition, by the way. You can just read it if you want to. Nothing? Nobody wants to read it? Are you familiar with the Vikings? Not the TV show, as awesome as that is. The people, the Vikings, are famously known for arriving at a new land where they were going to move forward and conquer and pillage. And when they got to new land, shoving their boats back into the water on fire. That's where we get the phrase, burn your boats. When you get to a new land and you take your transportation out of the equation, you have no other choice but to move forward. Whatever forward looks like. That's what committing is. Committing is, we are going in a direction. Let's go. Does it mean that you set a goal and you set a strategy and you only use that one strategy? No, right? But you set a goal, you set the end point, and you go, here's what we're going to achieve, and then you work, no matter how hard you need to make that happen. You define your culture and you commit to it. So the values at Zappos are 10 statements. They all start with verbs: deliver, build, be. And they address everything from wow through service, because Zappos is a service company, to core value number 3, equally as important to great service, is create fun and a little weirdness. Right? This isn't saying anything about the shoes that we sell. I'm sure there are a lot of fun shoes. Again, I'm going to use we language because I haven't gotten used to it yet. But create fun and a little weirdness says be yourself. Work hard, but not too hard. Make fun a part of the work. Right? That doesn't mean stop everything and play a game, although you can do that. When you're innovating, when you're problem solving, when you're working on that next step, it should be fun for you and your people. If it's not fun for you and your people, why are you trying it? It's not the right step. The problem solving aspect, looking at the possibilities, should excite some people in your organization. And those are the people that you could say, let's go forward. But find those people, let them be themselves. My favorite part about Zappos was that core value, not because it says create fun, woo! Right? And I'm a fun guy, I think, right? You guys have known me for 20 minutes. That's true, right? A little longer. Was that I got to be myself. I got to build, after the call center, I got to build a tour experience of our office because people were asking to tour the Zappos campus. And nobody said, okay, John, here's a book on how to build a tour process. They said, this is yours. We want you to build it. People touring a functioning office because they wanted to see and feel the culture. We reached a peak of about 1,800 visitors a month to tour our office. And I got to build that experience. When it came to speaking, nobody said, John, this is how you do a presentation. As a matter of fact, the first time I did a presentation for Zappos, I subbed in for somebody and I used their deck. Do you know what happens when you play PowerPoint karaoke? You forget the melody. There was an acronym on the screen, and I had studied for a week, and I then forgot in front of 600 people what that acronym meant. And I was like, next. And I learned a really valuable lesson. I cannot do anybody else's version of this job. And if I'm free and allowed to do my version of the job, it's going to be the best version that I can do. Then, as a business, you can judge whether that performance is great, right? Whether you'd like to keep me doing that. Hopefully, they said yes. The mission statement is also important. What are you telling the world? And there should be an aspirational nature to mission statements. Except the mission statement, in my opinion, and I'll just make that disclaimer, in my opinion, should not say to try. Because in nature, a mission statement is aspirational. And if you say, we try to, it means you're saying, we'll try to try. So take your car down to the dealership to get a repair and have them tell you they'll try to fix it. Does that instill a lot of confidence? No, but at our best, this is what we're doing. And for Zappos, that is to live and deliver wow. Great experiences across the board. And that's aspirational. We're not going to nail the mark every single time. But in every interaction, we should look at our culture, look at those values and behaviors and say, this is what our goal is. And you look at other companies like Buffer, and Buffer has values that are a little bit different. And they have values like do the right thing. And so I'm not going to pick on you guys because you did say you had integrity as a core value, but then you broke it down. Because here's what a lot of people miss. They put something like integrity or do the right thing as a value. Integrity is a concept. Do you guys agree? The room just got really tense, by the way. So if using your level of information and knowledge, you make the best decision possible, and then somebody else has different information or knowledge, and they feel you didn't make the right decision, can they coach you on integrity? You can't, right? And what are you going to coach them on? You made the wrong decision? Train me more, right? Why didn't I feel powerfully enough to make that decision that you would have made with different knowledge? So do the right thing. What does it mean? What does integrity really mean, right? We do the right thing when nobody's looking, right? It's such an open concept. But if you break it down and give a further explanation to get to behaviors, that's what people want. So they don't want to tell me what I need to do every day, right? Mandate, give me rules. Tell me what this looks like. How do I know I'm doing this every day? How do I know that you're doing this every day? Because everybody should be evaluating. Are we living the values and culture? And so they break it down and they give you a bunch of things. You choose what's best for customers in the company in the long term. And if you made that decision based on your knowledge you can't deny, that's the behavior that I was using at this point. So the coaching then can become, here are some other options and let's get you more training. But it's really important to break it down because you want clarity. You define it and you want to be as clear as possible. The behaviors and expectations that you're setting are actionable and measurable. Like you can look at them every day and say, how am I doing? So let's take a look at the second half of the word because we can't just leave the word cult hanging up there. Because the word is culture. So you have this thing that you tend to and care for. Your brand, your people, your community. What does that suffix URE mean? Typed it into Google. Gotta love Google, right? Indicating act, process, or result. Indicating function or office. Culture is that thing that you tend to and care for that drives results for your business. Now, what kind of results do they drive? It depends. How much are you tending to it? How much are you caring for it? Are you actually listening, or are you trying to take a top-down approach to culture and say, I know best because I've been here longer? Tend to it and care for it, which means that the people need to agree that this is the thing we're doing. So for me, when you talk about who, culture being the who, I'm not leaving out processes. I'm not leaving out products and services, right? Those are important, but they're your business. Culture is who we are. It guides and informs how we do what we do and should always point us to why. On a daily basis, when you walk into your office, do you think about why you do what you do? Anybody? Bueller? So I was in Columbus, Ohio, speaking to a safety company that make safety goggles and gas measuring equipment and all sorts of stuff. And the day before, they gave me a tour of their office. And as we're walking around, I see this great mural of the history of the company. And down at the bottom left is a quote from their founder about why he got into making safety equipment. And it was an amazing quote. And it was like, man, I totally get it. But that's all the way back here. So all I did is I took their quote, put it into today's language. And I finished my speech by going, what if you thought this every day? It was their own quote, not this one, but their own quote on the screen. And they were all like, whoa, can we use that? And this is no lie. The CEO, who reminded me of Charlie Sheen in The West Wing, not Charlie Sheen, what's his name in The West Wing? Yeah. He comes up and he goes, hey, do you mind if we use that? I'd like to put that up around the office. And I said, absolutely, I'd change the context of the quote from your founder. That's how easy it is, though. See, the thing with always looking back to the future to drive, or the past to drive the future, is that the past is full of great learnings and mistakes and successes, but it's not the future. So look at what's important from your future about your brand and your culture, but drive it for tomorrow. And so if you change things into the context of why do we do what we do? And I had a gentleman in one of our training sessions that we did at Zappos who had paid a lot of money to come hang out with us and learn. And lunch of the first day at 3, after we talked about vision, values, and purpose all morning, he goes, I just don't think we have a purpose. And he was kind of bummed. So I said, well, let me just ask you a question. What do you do? First question. He told me what his business does. And I said, great, why do you do that? And he gave me an answer, and I said, and why do you do that? And he gave me an answer. I asked 5 whys. It's actually something that Toyota does to get to the heart of the problem. What's the actual problem that we need to solve for? Not what's happening right now. How do we fix it? Is the same thing that can help you get to your purpose. And after 5 whys, he gave an answer that was like, holy crap, we've got a purpose. He stood up, he sat up, and was now excited for the next 2 days of his training because he had something to work with. But have you ever been in a job where you just thought, what is our purpose? I'm cutting these widgets all day, it's great. Why do we make these widgets? Should your people understand why you make your widgets? You guys just do this. Yeah. They should totally understand why you do it. So why do you do what you do? On a daily or weekly basis, do you say, why do we do what we do? Have you asked the people that do what you do? Right? If you're a leader, if you're a CEO, and you go down to the floor, if you're working in a shop and say, hey, real quick, I see you're making this part here, and why do we make this part? Do they understand it? And they should. Why else are they there? And I understand we all need jobs. I've taken just jobs. If you want to talk afterwards, we'll talk about my first job in Vegas. It was awful. But why are they there, and why are we here? It's that important. And if you get people inspired and understanding it and use the language of purpose in your discussion as a company, people want to be there because they understand why. So then the other question is your why, is that purpose statement obvious to other people? So without calling a company up and saying, hey, why do you do what you do I get a sense of, as a customer, consumer, business partner, potential employee, do I get a sense of who you are without having you tell me? Right? So think about 2017. Think about your online footprint as a company. What does that say about you? Are you guys familiar with Glassdoor? Oh, I see some head shaking no, some head shaking yes. Glassdoor, if you're not familiar with it, I would go as soon as we're done here. No. Check it out. Glassdoor is open review. Any employee, current or former, can write a review about your company. What? Yeah, it's out of your hands. What are they saying about you? What is the rating? What is the approval rating of the CEO? What do people say about the interview process or working there? You better look that up. Yeah, Glassdoor, right? And it's amazing because it's completely out of, no employer gets on there to fix things. You should look and then say, here's action we can take moving forward. Those reviews are in the past. They can only equip you to move forward in the future. The other question is, are your people excited about your purpose? Excited about it. So a sad story, we all know what happened on September 11th, many years ago. I was working at Maytech, a manufacturing firm, and many of our parts, components, were going to end up in military. They all went to Military Park. They were all military, right? They're going to end up going somewhere and being used. Do you want to talk about instilling a sense of purpose in somebody? I knew what I was making when I was making it the day before on September 10th. On September 11th, I went, oh my gosh, this is important to me. It was amazing, the attitude, the charge and energy that we had across the whole shop. Same jobs, same quotas, same work order numbers. But we were working for something now. We weren't working to make the quota to sell the part to the vendor. We had purpose. Think about your organization. Think about the people that you have. Think about that newest person that you hired. Are they excited about it? Not do they know what it is. Are they excited about it? That's the person you want driving what's next for your company. To be excited about it. Another big question we have to ask, because things are changing. Would you agree? Times they are changing. Right? And guess what? I just have to play devil's advocate here. The millennials aren't the problem. Don't throw rocks at me or anything. Right? Every generation, as they come into the workforce, disrupts, wants to do things differently, has a part of what they've learned from their parents and they've learned from their grandparents, what's been instilled in them. But every generation faces an entirely different society that they have to build work business for. And society changes, so you have to change as well. It's a given. Guess what happens if you don't change? You don't exist. It's that easy. Look at all the big businesses that at one point in time were at the top of those lists of great places to work and or biggest, fastest growing. If they aren't focused on the right thing, which is their culture, their people, and tying it to purpose, within 50 years, most of those companies are off the lists, and they're just off. They're gone. So how are you working with your brand, right? Brand being your culture, your people, your purpose, towards a better future? Anybody? This is a good crowd. I'm going to change my name to anybody. It's a tough question, isn't it? And you don't have to have an answer right now. But you have to ask the question. What am I doing for the future? So when you talk about sustainability, corporate sustainability and responsibility, that talks about sticking around for the future. Being responsible to your community means not only being a good business, people want your products and services or like working for you, but you need to be a part of growing what's next for your community. What's next for this community? If everything stayed absolutely the same today, what's next for this community? Yeah, that's a tough answer. What happens when you say, we want to make this community stronger? We want to make this community better. We want to partner with organizations that say we have a way to do it. Because as a business, you've got business to deal with. How do you say, here's an opportunity for you as a frontline entry-level employee to give back to the community? That's what partnering with an organization like United Way does for you. And you say, hey, we have this opportunity, and as a group, we're putting together a team to go and do this thing. And then that person, and you should be including frontline employees, brand new entry-level people, in the opportunity to sign up for these things. Because what happens when you go and you serve together as a team? Your company goes, you get recognition, you feel great about it. Your team, whoever signed up and got to go, gets to know each other better. Do you want to know how you make an organization better in general? Connect human beings. Let people get to know each other. Hey, you're in marketing? Great. Hey, I was wondering about this thing. I read this thing about new marketing ideas. Maybe you've never heard that. You didn't see that blog post. And you connect, and you go, wait, what are you doing? Oh, you're in the call center? Wow. But you're talking about marketing stuff. Are you interested in that? Do you have a background in that? Is there somebody that we can mold and grow inside of our organization to help with that? So then you take all the other stuff that's in the learning management systems and all the other growth opportunities and potential that people have, and by helping them get together and do something great for the community in the future, you can help your company for the future. You can find that potential. When I started working at Maytech, I'll tell you, and I've been telling this for 6 years, so I'm not just telling it because they're probably here. I started working at Maytech. They hired you as long as you could learn how to read a caliper and a microscope, or a micrometer, thank you. And you, that's it. Can you do the basic functions of this job? Great. And you got to running a CNC machine. They were also pretty adept at saying, hey, you're asking a lot of questions. You seem like you really want to make good parts, and when the parts aren't good, you're trying to figure out how to make them good, right? So working with the engineers and the guys that are way smarter than I am. And I started making my own machine adjustments so that I didn't have to waste time calling on an engineer. And then I got permission to go and make my own tool changes. So I didn't have to waste time. For me, there was a quota to reach, and that was like a game. And if I had to wait for somebody smarter than me to come and fix this machine, I wasn't going to make the quota. And Maytech said, hey, thank you for that. And they taught me and trained me. And eventually I ended up running and starting the laser marking department for the whole company. Hey, you seem like you might be familiar with computer programming, basic stuff. Yeah, I'm familiar with basic stuff. Cool. And here's an opportunity. You have to be paying attention to who's in your organization. You have to know your people well enough, and they should know each other well enough that you can make a much, much more positive future for yourself and for the community. Now, does this sound like hard work? It's a short session. I'm trying to keep on time here, but does this sound like hard work? It is, absolutely. So I'm going to give you a little bit of like, okay, awesome. I can breathe. There's a lot of work to be done, even in great organizations. But it starts here. What's a 1% change that I can make today as a leader that I can make that's going to show people this is what we should be doing for the future? How can I show the values and culture of the organization, what our brand is really all about, to our people so that they want to do their own 1% change? 1% change, by the way, doesn't have to be like, oh man, I messed that up. I should have made my 1% change before that meeting. 1% change can be like 5 minutes after that meeting, take some time and go, what can I do differently next time? Especially if you give feedback to employees. You're not going to nail it by trying to think differently tomorrow. Stop and go, how could this be different? When you go to do a campaign and you go to volunteer together and you go to put together, how can we pitch this? How can we make sure that people understand that this is something we're doing, not just because, oh my God, this company does this, right? It's another thing that comes from the top, and you guys know what rolls downhill, right? It's not snowballs. How can I make sure that people understand that by signing up for this, they're getting an opportunity to do something better? And we're going to let you do that as a part of this company, right? And that approach and idea of let you do it is huge. You can't mandate it. Let people do it. Find a way, if you're on social media as a company, to have those people share their experiences when they do these things. Let them find their 1%. What do you want to do differently in the coming days to make things better? And imagine if you have 100 people and they all make a 1% change today, what happens tomorrow? What happens next year? It's a lot of real change, and it's a lot of real change for the right reasons and in the right direction because you started here. Set that 5-year goal. Set the big goal. Don't set the strategy. Let people make it happen. Has this been helpful? So like I said, guys, I am so very, very thankful to be here. When I heard that I was able to come back to my old stomping grounds, when I was able to come and be a part of a United Way meeting, to not only inspire local leaders, but to remind you how important the community is, I said, yes, yes, yes. There is no better way to win than by working together. Thank you, guys.
John, thank you. That was amazing. How about another round of applause for John Wolski? Very cool. My incoming CEO at PRMC, Steve Leonard, is in the room. And Steve, I don't know how we're going to bring a little weirdness to the hospital, but I'm on board. I'm on board. I am on board. True. Hey, a couple of more Slido questions for you now before we move on. So grab your cell phones. We'll give the team a chance to get this up here on the screen. And the first thing I want to do when we get up here is find out how well you were listening to Jim when he was up here earlier. What's the campaign goal for 2017, 2018? Yeah, nobody better get this wrong in this room. $2.2 million. And we are going to, who said $2 million? Who is sliding this organization? $2.2 million. $2.2 million, and we will get there. Okay, I want to find out what you think about what you can do to make a campaign successful at your workplace. Offer an employee campaign for the first time at my workplace. Advocating for a United Way campaign at my workplace. Engaging in social media to spread the word about our United Way's local impact. Connecting colleagues with the United Way for new campaign opportunities, or encouraging friends, family, and colleagues to volunteer. The cool thing about this question is there's no wrong answers. These are all great things that you can do to get your team engaged for a United Way campaign. All right, now the United Way team wants to find out what you know about us. I'm familiar with these United Way programs, groups, and initiatives. Our Get Connected Volunteer Center, Student United Ways, Emerging Leaders, Health Literacy, the Regional Opioid Coalition that I spoke about earlier, 100 Docs, Dine United, Stay United, Alice, or the Imagination Library. Again, all good stuff to know for our team. We'll take a look at these results. There's a lot of stuff going on at your United Way. This is what we're getting at. And there's a lot of things that you can get involved in with your United Way to better your community. All right, and here's what we find out about you that you've done that you can share with us that will make campaigns sail and succeed. We've used these fun ways to energize our workplace campaign. Drawings for prizes, rock star parking spots. We do that at the hospital, and you can't imagine how popular that is. To have your own parking spot for a year, try finding parking at PRMC. Company match, helping those dollars grow. Branding a United Way item at your workplace, like a Pepsi machine. Fun food events, friendly competitions, pulling airplanes. Pulling airplanes. Can't say I've ever pulled an airplane. And I know they do it at Piedmont. So there you go. There's some things that folks have done. You 30%ers in the room who are here for the first time, trying to find out what you can do to launch a successful United Way campaign, it's right there. Right there. And look, no idea is a bad idea. There are great things that you can do. Try it. Try it. What's the worst thing you're going to do? All right? It may not succeed the first time. Try it again. Try it again. A lot of great ways to make your campaign grow and to make it successful. All right, so now please join me in welcoming the founder and principal at Vantage Point Solutions and our United Way campaign chair, Dana Seiler. Hey, Dana.
Wow. Okay, first off, I don't know if this is by design, but it seems like every time Kathleen asks me to speak, it is right after the most amazing presentation we've ever had. So my father always said, if you get in a bind, start with this. Once upon a time in a corn country, there lived a pransome hens. All right, now I feel much better. You know, every once in a while you have an opportunity to come alongside a group that is aligned with a common vision and a common goal and a common ethic. And they decide that you can't continue to do what you've always done and expect to get different results. And I think that describes your United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. It is a group of staff members that operate at a level that I wish everybody in my company had. And a dedicated board of professionals that you see around this room that are willing to take the time and the effort to not just do the same thing every year and expect a different result. To go from 2 million, and I did hear something about asking Roger who the 2 million thought it was. I think that was actually an indication of Purdue's goal this year. So no pressure at all, Jim, but we know that with the great group that leads the United Way and the fantastic group of people that are here, that we're going to hit that 2.2 million goal. And I'm just honored to be given the opportunity to say I'm the campaign chair, because as the campaign chair, this is probably the biggest thing I do all year. It's the people that run the campaigns, it's the people that come and get involved, and it's just not staff and board. There are fantastic community leaders that come in and get on those teams
and do the groundwork to go out and not just do the same old standard campaign that you always see done. This group and this organization thinks out of the box. They think unique things. They think the thing that hasn't been done. And as Kathleen likes to tell us, this is not your Father's United Way. And that really means a lot. So what do we do? What are those things that we do that are unconventional and they're different and they're not just, hey, let's go out and have a campaign. We want to do things that are fun and exciting and have impact. So we've added a couple of those things over the last few years, and I want to share those with you. We have some really special events coming up, and I hope that each and every one of you, if you have the opportunity, will participate in those. One is our 4th annual United Way Halloween 5K. If you want to have fun, come out and see 200-300 zombies all running down the street in Salisbury. Okay, it really is good that they do that and have something to compete with the Seagull Century. The second is we have the 4th annual United Way Cornament. It is the largest tournament, say that 5 times fast, on the entire East Coast, east of the Mississippi, and most likely west of the Mississippi as well. And this tournament is a fantastic way to be involved. It's a blast. It's fun. I've played it with my son, and we've gone out and been a team, and it's just an awesome time. And this year, we are honored to have the Elks be the big sponsor and help us put this together. And again, I just want to say thank you to Chris and the people at Vision Creative who stepped in and decided to help us make this commercial. If you'll go ahead and show it.
The Salisbury Elks number 817 presents the 4th annual Lower Eastern Shore Tournament to benefit United Way, taking place on Saturday, October 14th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Elks Lodge. The shore's largest cornhole tournament features $1,000 in cash prizes for winners, free play for unlimited teams, DJ entertainment, tiki bar, delicious food, auctions, raffles, and more. 100 teams are expected and only $50 per team of 2, and free for spectators. Visit UnitedWay4us.org for more information and to register your team today. The Salisbury Elks number 817 presents the 4th annual Lower Eastern Shore Tournament.
It's so good we want to watch it again,
Way,
don't we?
taking place on...
Right? This is an awesome thing. I mean, who doesn't want to go out and throw a bean bag across the yard into a hole with all their friends, right? What else would you want to do on a great, beautiful day? Another way that this organization, and we've talked about, some of the other things, the Dine United, the Stay United, those kind of things that we're doing that are just out of the box. Another thing that we decided to put together this year, and I'd like to take a few moments to walk you through and give you an opportunity to see it, is the Live United Rewards Program. And this is a program that we put together because, once again, we know everybody has $10 that they don't need this week. So number one. And number two is we see the value in return on investment. So I went through and looked at the 70 companies that are participating in this, and if you were to buy a card for $10, and you can buy it online on your phone, and we're going to show you how to do that. If you went to just one of these, each organization, one time this next year, you would save over $500. Would you agree that's a pretty good return on investment for a $10 purchase? Awesome. The other thing is, as Jim mentioned, it's not a small card. So you don't have to worry about who last had the card when you go in, and you don't have to worry about whether you have a magnifying glass to be able to read who the companies are and what's going on with them. This is all done in a virtual environment. So what I'd like to do, and I'm going to have to step forward. I have a pretty loud voice, so I think I can look at the screen so I sort of know what's going on. And what I'm going to do is walk you real quickly through the site. So we put together this site. It's called Live United Rewards. And basically, it is a site where you go out and buy a card, right? So this is our home page. As you go along, you will see what's new things. We're going to post things that are going on. So let's say one of our participants decides that they're going to have a special deal that they want to make sure everybody knows. Go to liveunitedrewards.com. Look over on the right side, you'll see what's new.
This just talks a little bit about what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, because it's all about the agencies that bring the services to the people that help for the core things that we live for as a United Way: health, education, and finance. So we're going to move on over to where to use your card. And here you'll see that this is an interactive Google-based map. At the top, you can put your location in, so 21804. You can select how far away you want to see it. And you see that we have a number of different categories. So there's everything out here for places to eat, places to stay, places to shop, gifts, collectibles, automotive, printing. And if you have a service or a business that you want to offer, and you can offer some kind of a special deal through Live United Rewards, we're going to show you how you can join us and become one of the sponsor companies. It doesn't cost you anything. So basically, you can see it. You'll notice that if, let's say, you put your mouse over Grant Service Center title right there, over the title, you'll notice how we wrote it there. Grant Service Center bounces up and down. You can get directions to it. If you click on more info, here we can actually go down and tell you what that company is offering, when they're open. A little bit about them. We have information on every single one of these organizations. So that's how you use it. You can also, it's formatted so you can use it on your phone. So if you have the card on your phone, I don't know how well you can see it in my hand, but we'll show it in a minute. The card is here digitally to you. You can go out there and you can actually go out and search, see how far away you want to go. Where do you want to eat? What do you want to do? What kind of service? Okay. The next one is we're going to go to business registration. I mentioned that if you have a business, we want you to join us. Here's the neat thing. You can do whatever it is you're already doing today. We're not asking for anything special, anything different. We're not saying you got to give money here and you got to take money there. Everybody has a business and you do something to pull people to your business, right? Do you agree to that? No? You want people to come to your business to do something, right? Okay, so you want to give them an incentive to come do that. If you're willing and you have something, it doesn't matter. If it's something that will help people come to you, go out and fill out this form. We will take care of the rest. We'll get everything set up. We'll get your logo and things like that. And we'll put that out there so that you're a part of it. So I encourage you, after this is over, if you're interested, please sign up. And if you don't, we're going to probably send somebody to help you. So, the next one is buy the card. This is really, really neat. Okay? So we took out our phone for sliding, right? So this is a leadership group, so I'm going to ask you to be leaders. I'm going to ask everybody to take out your phone, go to www.liveunitedrewards.com. When you get there, click on the link that says buy the card. You know, I said when I was a board member that I would help these agencies. And I'm going to ask you to help us help these agencies today by buying a card. So if you go to, and you'll notice also down here, if you're getting there, we have all the agencies in the card. These are some awesome agencies. You saw some of them in the video. You've heard about it over time. So if you go ahead and click on buy the card online, you will come up to a very, very secure authorized document. And if you just take a moment, if you can, fill out that form, click submit at the bottom, and you will get an email that will have a link to your personalized card. It will be delivered, and then you can bring it up, load it on your phone, bookmark it on your desktop. And this is what it looks like. It's a Live United Rewards. It tells us who you are. It tells the people that you're going to purchase from who you are, so they can say thank you. It tells you your card is valid. This is a feature thing. This card is refillable. You don't have to go out and hope somebody comes to your door and offers you another card. When you get within 60 days of the date you purchased, it'll turn on. When you get within 30 days, the day you purchased, it'll turn red and give you a link to go back and refill your card. Another $10, you get another year of all the savings. 2 years, I spent $20, I saved $1,000. I think that's great. We also want to recognize some of the people that help us get there. we have a fantastic board member, Paul Boston, who is, I'm sure, happy to say that law bar. He is one of the participants. So there are opportunities to help us by letting them know who you are, so we don't work So this is an opportunity for you to continually help the United Way in a way that's sort of outside of it. It's different. It's unique. So we hope and encourage you to support us in this way, and to be able to just continue to be a supporter of the United Way. Before I introduce our next speaker, I just want to say, John, if you do me a favor, see me afterwards. Much better than I'd like to give that to you so you can put it in respect that. The one thing I like about being the next event
I have never met a person who works this hard, who is so dedicated and loves what she does so much. She is the passion behind the United Way of Lower Eastern Shore. Would you please give a big round of applause for Kathleen?
Good morning. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I have tried to get around to hug as many people as I can. I'm still going to be trying to finish that. And let's hear it again for Salisbury University, who made this morning possible. We have been inspired. We have a huge goal. I love it when someone said, I think it was Randy Day, we're going to shoot way past that $2.2 million goal, and we have to. Our community needs all of you. We need to do a better job to help those in need. We need to do a better job to make sure that children coming into kindergarten are ready for kindergarten. That is huge. We have a really serious issue with children not being ready for kindergarten. And our Imagination Library program is churning that. We just got the first results, 5 years, 106,000 books delivered. And the kindergarten readiness assessment scores prove that program works in our schools. Our schools can't do it alone. Our hospital and healthcare systems cannot do it alone. Our whole community needs to come together and wrap our arms around them through these programs. And our United Way is you here in this room. We have a staff of 8 people. It's only because of you that we're able to do the amazing work and to see the measurable results that we are getting. And it is measurable results. It's not just, bless you, you've got a good name, hope it helps. We are making a real measurable difference in people's lives, like Cheyenne, the 3-year-old that you saw from Easter Seals. You know, yes, breaks your heart, but it's so heartwarming to be there and to see and talk to her mom who says, I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't for United Way and Easter Seals' help behind me. There, for the grace of God, go any one of us. Life can change in a heartbeat. As Steve Evans, I think, said, game on. You've got your footballs with you. Please take them. Please know that united we will win, and we will do a wonderful job. God bless you all, and I turn it back over to Roger real quick to give you some final things because we have a big photo to take right now. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, thank you, Kathleen. This lady and I have known each other for probably 25 years now, and we met during jury duty here in Wicomico County. So I just want to tell this room that for a quarter of a century, this has been my rock star, this has been my hero, and Kathleen, we cannot thank you enough for all you have done over the years to make this community so much better. Thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure to be here today. We got through this. My voice held up for the most part, so that's good. And I also want to thank all of you in the room today for being here, because you are going to make a huge difference in this community. You're so important to what we do at the United Way. It's great to have you here. This does complete our program. We got you out close to time. Close to time. But there are a couple of things that you need to know before you get out of here, so hang tight before you rush the doors. We ask that you please put on those United Way t-shirts you got when you came in. Mine is a sporty red Washington Nationals color, which I absolutely love. We're going to take a photo right outside the bistro room here in a couple of moments, and we need you in those t-shirts. Also, after the photo, please be sure to take your United Way campaign materials with you. That's important. You can't run your campaign without your materials. So please don't leave without your United Way campaign materials. And following the group photo, we have the optional interactive poverty simulation, and we also have the coordinator lunch and learn. If you have, let me make sure I get this right, if you have a green star on your name tag, you've registered for the poverty simulation. If you have red, then you've registered for the lunch and learn. So, on behalf of my friends at the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore and my friends at Salisbury University who have made this all possible, thank you again. Let's make this the best campaign ever. Let's have a great rest of our day, and thank you so much for living united.